Drop your hot takes in chat. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Good evening, Queen Bee. Good to see you. And my darling Cherry, I love seeing you here. You're such a great support. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about what's going on. All answers are welcome. Or questions. Welcome everybody on YouTube. Good to see you. Please give me a thumbs up or a heart or whatever you guys. If you're on X, let me see. Oh yeah. Hi to everybody on X. Good to see all of you. I see we have 11 people on X. Howdy ho. Hello, my Rumble family. It's good to see you guys jumping in here. Yeah, let me know what you guys think, concerning this whole thing with Maduro over the weekend. Are you excited about it? Not so happy about it? Totally. Let me know. I just ask people to be civil in the comments, please. Amen, Kristen Defender. I think sorry. They say the end of the deep state incoming. Enjoy the show. I have to agree with that one. Getting in the right zone, right? That's the whole point of the chakra music here. We're all kind of getting centered, getting calm. And please, yes, drop your hot takes in chat right now. Welcome, everybody, to Let's Talk. We're going to talk about it. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys like what I put out, or even if you don't. Just at least give me a like. That'll really help. All right. So now I am going to talk about, I do want to go into the whole thing with the breaking news, of course, with Maduro being arrested, the Venezuelan dictator, drug trafficker, and a bunch of other things that I'm not going to pretend to know about. But, we know that there's a lot of connections with our government, with Venezuela over the years. I was doing some little digging last night. So how much has the CIA been involved in Venezuela all time? And I was just kind of looking around, getting some information. I did find some interesting things. I also found some interesting things, very interesting things about certain people in our Congress that are involved or even met with Maduro at points in time. So that was a little interesting. So we'll get into that. But before I do, I got to play this video for you guys from the White House. And it's very good. It is very good. So let's pull this up. It is titled Road to Liberty, Battle of Trenton. And it's not too long. I will see you on the other side and we will continue. But I want everybody to watch this and to kind of get in the mode of what it is. Because, we are in Christmas time and this feeling of the beginnings of America and what our ancestors went through to preserve and protect freedom before they were even a country. It was just something worth fighting for. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I think I almost finished it, but I'm like, I'm going to wait and watch it with everybody. So let's check it out.
You know this painting. Iconic. Hopeful. Bright. But I remember a much darker night. We were Continental soldiers crossing in storm and darkness.
Hell of a way to spend Christmas.
No families. No feast. No cheer. Just river, ice, and our orders. We were to hit the Hessians, German mercenaries, as they rested in their quarters in Trenton. Jilt the enemy as well as our men's morale before enlistments were set to expire within days. New York was gone. Fort Washington and Fort Lee, too. On the road through New Jersey, and whispered the general was outmatched. We hung by a thread, underfed, underpaid, underclothed. With hope this low, who would want to re-enlist? We'd later learn that 2 of our 3 brigades failed to cross, leaving Washington with 2,600 less men. He pushed on anyway.
Victory or death.
Crossing the Delaware was only the beginning. 9 hard miles in the nor'easter to reach Trenton by night, where 1,500 well-rested Hessians awaited us. I saw rags where boots should be. Sometimes I hear of blood in the snow. 2 men froze to death on the march.
Press on, lad. We mustn't tarry.
The storm continued to grow worse. Our gunpowder was soaked, and we were hours behind schedule.
The men are exhausted.
We're set to find the Hessians wide awake, with no cover or darkness to provide any element of surprise.
The general marches us to our graves.
Washington had a tough choice. Push on or turn back. Some of us planned on going home when our time ran out, if we survived. Until then, we had to push on. We were split into 2 columns, hoping to flank Trenton. One from north, the other from the River Road. The storm that had beaten us for the past 9 miles became the cover we needed.
Push through the snow.
We posted guns at the crossings.
Keep moving.
The Hessian Colonel Rahl tried to form, but it was too late. The Hessians buckled.
Push forward.
They lost by the hundreds. About 22 killed, more than 80 wounded, nearly 900 captured. We lost little in the streets. For the first time in months, we could breathe. On a night of ice and doubt, our questioned commander chose risk, turning caution into daring and despair into hope. That choice didn't just win Trenton. It invigorated men to re-enlist, which saved the revolution and turned truths into legend.
Yeah, let's go. And thank you, Prager University, for helping, working in collaboration with White House to make these projects. I highly recommend anybody that hasn't gone to the White House YouTube. You are going to find the most amazing things. In fact, we're going to watch a few more throughout this show, throughout this stream. And I think you guys will really enjoy them. But with that being said, let's pull this down. And guys, thank you so much. I see Freedoms76. Good to see you in chat. And we got 4 over on YouTube. It's so good to see you guys. Like I feel like I'm always so censored over there. So I'm so happy there are some people jumping in. And of course on X. All right. So in that video, you know, I've been so like, okay, this last month, I've been like, okay, what do I do to help this? What we can call it a movement, but it's more than that. It's a fight for freedom. It's a battle of good versus evil. And I have been a social influencer, and I come out, you know, and I make music and I make videos and I do what I can. I've ran for city council twice. I didn't get it, you know. I honestly feel like the elections are rigged everywhere. That's just me, but we're actually going to get into that as well with this Venezuelan connection. And I think a lot of you guys are aware of this. So that's very interesting. And of course, people that have been around for a while, awake and around for a while, who know that the 2020 election was stolen. If you were following at that time with Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell being very vocal voices at the time, and I love them. It's funny. I have so many saved folders that I'm going to have to go through, guys, and pull it out, because now future is proving past. It's all become relevant. It's all becoming relevant. And the people that weren't on board before are now getting it. But we are here to help them. We're here to help them understand. So back to the whole thing that we just watched with the Battle of Trenton. We are in a real battle. Like, truly a real battle for our country, for the Republic, for the United States of America. The battlefield has changed. The battlefield is now what we would call a war, psychological battlefield, but it is a battlefield nonetheless. It's a war that can be won in the minds of men, and before you know it, a country could be completely taken over because they were slowly degraded to accept things that they would have never accept. But it's the, frog in boiling water scenario, right? So we need to remember we are at war. We are at a war for our republic. And that's not anything to be afraid of. That's actually, it's a great opportunity for us to really stand up, hold the line. And then also, behind me being a patriot for my country, why I'm so supportive of the United States of America is because behind that was the founding, which was all based on the idea of a creator, and that there are certain laws, right? That all men are created equal. We are endowed by our creator with certain unalienable rights. And these are life, these are liberty, these are the pursuit of happiness. Never be afraid to pursue these things, ever. And if your government is preventing these things, then you have the right to redress the government for your grievances. You can actually go and say, hey, what the heck? The difference is with this Trump administration, I want everybody to know, all the people that turn on Trump, which is retarded, Trump is here to listen to we the people. He said that in his first term. He said, I am returning the power of the United States of America, the government, back to you, the people, because that's the way it's supposed to work. So right now, guys, is the time to go to your government and tell them about your grievances. Say, hey, Trump, we're having troubles over here. Hey, Trump, check it over here. Hey, there's fraud over here. Be loud, be vocal. You don't have to be angry. And we clearly love Trump, but he can't do it alone. And there's also certain things that he kind of has to remain neutral about until the rest of the public wake up and demand accountability. He could do executive orders and round certain people up and things like that. But there's a balance here. It's a very delicate time. There could be civil war that's started by the deep state, of course, not us. All these things. So it's a very delicate thing that's happening right now. But I have kind of understood what we should really be doing right now, and what we should have been doing from the very beginning. And I know a lot of you guys have. Is just speaking truth and calling out evil, It reminds me, I'm going to find a verse for you guys on the fly because it's like one of my favorite verses. I don't know where it's found. That's why we need to memorize verses. Okay, let's see if I can find it. Okay, it's Ephesians. Man, Ephesians got a lot of good stuff. Ephesians has the armor of God as well. But Ephesians 5:11 says, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Right? I mean, this is Anons. This is Patriots right here. Right? These are different translations. Take no part in the worthless. I love it. The worthless deeds of evil and darkness. Instead, expose them. So not only are we not to take part in it, we're supposed to shine a light on it. We're supposed to say, hey, everyone, look, these guys are corrupt. These guys are evil. There was a time, it was like during the COVID, probably like the 2020 election time, where it's like, oh, you want to be good Christians. You don't want to start trouble within your family or within your community. Let's not talk politics, right? And also, this is not politics, by the way, but it's like, let's not talk about what they called politics, but really it was the battle of good and evil. Let's not talk about that because that offends certain people. And you're like, bro, it's the battle for our republic. You might not be able to talk freely if you don't give a darn about this in the next 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, I could go on. But so I feel like I kind of just, for all you guys watching me, I love you all, by the way. I'm not chewing you out. You guys are amazing. You guys have been patriots from the beginning. But let me pull this down. But I think we really need to now use our freedoms, freedom of speech, talk about it, talk to people about it, do posts about it, make memes, heck, print off things in the billboard and stick it at your local post office. I don't care. It doesn't matter what it is. truth about vaccines, the truth about our poisonous food and genetically modified stuff that is causing cancer in our cells. You could talk about COVID and how it was a pandemic. You can talk about how the elections are stolen. You could find quite a bit of information on that, by the way. Just little facts, little fun facts. Just focus on that flip that happened in the middle of the night. Oh, it's just Biden just spiked up. Like all of these things, we know it, right? And we've been saying it. I've been saying it for years. And then I think what happens is over time, we're like, well, I said it. I made 20 live streams about it, right? But we need to remember that the minds of people are being recycled. Like there's new batches. There's new batches of people that are getting red pilled. I know there's a big giant group that says, no, we're done. It's only 4 to 6% left and they're lost forever. I don't think so. Obviously, there is going to be a group that will never understand. I got it. But until my heart starts beating, I'm going to be speaking the truth. And if there's even one more person that could get it, that's worth it for me, right? Because everything here, right, will not go with us when we pass away. And see, this is the interesting thing about being a patriot, because you are fighting to preserve this beautiful country in this physical reality, right? And it's because I was watching a great video, guys, from Hillsdale College. And it was basically going through how the structure of government that we have with the executive branch, with the judicial branch, and the congressional, I hope I said them all right, but the 3 checks and balances, those were originally frameworked on the creator. The creator, God, has all of those 3 in one. He is the executive branch. He is the judicial. He judges. He's all of it, right? But they took that structure, brought it down to man, because this is what they're saying. If you read some of the literature from our founding fathers, even the Federalist Papers, they talk about just like trying to understand how do we do that? How do we have the best working system in an imperfect world? And so they took those powers that we know are true and they separated in 3 parts so that they would have to work with each other. Beautiful system. The problem is we got a bunch of mob bosses now in place of all those places. So they all work together. The judge system is completely corrupt. Congress bought and paid for, right? You know what I mean? The presidential seat, usually selected, groomed, already picked, right? Trump was an anomaly. This is a quote from George Soros. Trump is an anomaly that soon will disappear by 2020 or whatever he said, right? Sorry, George. That didn't happen, by the way. But yeah, Trump was an anomaly, right? And I'm a believer in God. And I believe that when we, the people, cry out, God will listen. It's just like Jesus. He's like, hey, bro, I will come and help you. But first you have to knock. First you have to ask. And first you have to seek. You have to knock. And then what? The door will open. This is action. We have to be action. We have to be doing something. Ask. Right? God knows our heart. But we need to actually take a moment. You could get on your knees. It doesn't matter. But just be like, God, like straight up, like this is what I'm like. World surrounded by satanic pedophiles. Lucifer himself is running this. I'm a servant for you while I'm here. Please help us as we try to conquer these bros. Like even if it's your will, because we don't even know. Like a lot of times I'm like, are we at I don't like to call it end times. I don't like how people call it that because it's not the end. It's like the beginning. So that's also something. But yeah, so like, I don't even know. I don't even know where I'm going with this, guys. I've talked forever. So I'm going to come now and talk to you guys in chat because I am just a chatterbox today. Okay, so Spirit Warrior. Oh, it's good to see you again over on YouTube. Still waiting to see that real Kraken coming out. Sydney Powell. I agree. And we're actually going to touch on that. I'm going to I'm going to go through quite a bit of General Flynn's posts because he's putting out some really good stuff right now. You also say it's a fully spiritual battlefield. Yes, 100%. America First, 8619 says, so happy to catch you live. No better voice. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Spirit Warrior. And I wish I could pop you guys up. Wait, I might be able to. Okay, Spirit Warrior, you won't see that I popped you up, but I popped you up on my Rumble. I'm still trying to figure out because I'm doing multiple streamings, right? So I still got to get this all hooked up to chat, but I see you all. I love you all. And even on X, guys, I have my X open. So if you want to say, as I say that, I look and I actually didn't have this part open. If you want to say anything, okay, I got my eyes on chat. So I will see you now. Okay. Spirit Warrior says, Trump is the Cyrus of our day. Not perfect. May or may not be saved. Or even pagan like Cyrus. Love or hate Trump. He is anointed to do something for us. I love your take, Spirit Warrior, because you're very, you stood back. You're taking in that full view. It's beautiful. I agree 100%. Okay, let's pull that down. Powell replaces Bondi. Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? Sidney Powell be replacing Pam Bondi. Oh my gosh, she'd get stuff done. She'd get stuff done. She's the one. See, that's why people I'm sorry. The people that are out there that are dooming, do you know how far we've come? I'm telling you, I've been watching this for 8+ years. We are going somewhere. The world is waking up. Okay, so Sidney Powell, during the time when, Hillary Clinton got a slap on the wrist from the FBI, Comey, right? They're all in it together. And Hillary Clinton's aide, close advisor, Huma Abedin, her husband, Anthony Weiner, had a laptop that he left out and whatever. The story behind it was really interesting, also how it's found. But the New York police get it. And I think possibly, I don't even know if some New York FBI, but I know that the police got it. And they find terrible things on it. That specifically a folder that's called life insurance supposedly has Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin doing terrible acts of satanic ritual abuse to a child and just terrible things. Okay. And also I have a video of Comey saying, yeah, it's only, I don't even remember what he said, 16,000 emails, whatever. It was huge. It was 67. I can't even remember. I'll have to see if I can find that clip. But basically the FBI was hiding what was found on that laptop, completely covered for them. And that'll loop back around to Sidney Powell. She came out and said, oh, yeah, they looked at the contents on that laptop. And she said that the police saw it and they had to go throw up in the hallway because it was that disgusting. And she said these were veteran police officers that have seen nasty crime scenes before. So if that gives you guys any idea. So that's Sidney Powell. Let's go. Attorney General. I'm down with it. So we'll see. We will see. But I like that take a lot. You see it on YouTube as well. Or Ivan Racklin. Yeah, dude, that bro. He's always I remember when I saw, not in person, but that would have been cool. Just that wall that he had everything connected, right? Everything's connected. And that's the blessing of the internet. And I think that that's just really what is the downfall of the global cabal, is that we were able to bypass them, right? And unite and talk to each other and figure things out. They don't want us figuring things out. Their biggest fear is all of us uniting, because then it's 1 to 1,000. You know what I mean? They're just so tiny. Even it's the whole global cabal is a little tiny thing. compared to Earth. Okay. Like, so if we can red pill the Earth, right? These people will just become, well, honestly, we would probably, and I don't want to step ahead of myself because I don't know Trump's plans. There's many ways to go about it. But if the crimes are shown to the whole world then will go, you know what? Yeah, they're guilty of treason and guilty of murder and guilty of all these things. And the punishment will probably be execution. Sorry. That's just the way it's been for a long time. And that's the way it should be if you do terrible things, especially to children. And that's all I have planned on that. But with that being said, I'm going to now, we're gonna jump in this whole Maduro thing. And guys, thank you so much for jumping in here. Let me know, everybody in chat, how you feel about this whole Maduro thing. Were you like, WTF, what's going on? I've seen people like that, even in the MAGA movement. Honestly, it kind of pissed me off a little bit, but I'm open for conversation and to hear what you guys have to say and all that. So that's what this is all about. That's why I called it Let's Talk. It's because I want to know. I want to know what you guys feel. I want to know what it's like on the ground. I'm all the way in Alaska, so I'm kind of removed. I'm like closer to Putin in Russia, you know what I mean? All right. So, okay. So it was over the weekend, over this New Year's weekend, we had the arrest of the Venezuela dictator, Nicolas Maduro. And I'm going to pull up. Jeez, I'm not organized here. Oh man, and I had this whole thing with Flynn. You know what? Okay, we're gonna get there. Okay, so let's do this. Now, through this whole thing, people are finding that the election, the machines they're using, right, have possibly, supposedly been rigged. And those are the same ones that we're using now in our elections, right? So that's kind of the talking point. And I'm going to get to that. I just didn't want to jump ahead. So I'm going to first go to General Flynn's post here. He posted this yesterday, and it's like a thread, and we're just going to go through it. I'm just going to read it, and we're going to watch the videos that he has. And the most important part is that end part right there that he posts. But so he says, Washington, D.C., Jericho March, December 2020. When I first spoke out publicly about the stolen 2020 election, there was no debate and no investigation. I was immediately labeled a conspiracy theorist. Oh, and also, guys, please let me know if my mic is, I think it is going good. Okay. Not just by the left, but by the right as well. Because we know this is beyond party lines. This is beyond politics, right? Or this is beyond the different, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I'm sorry, guys. This evil has spread to all of them. They're all in it together. The response wasn't curiosity. It was a coordinated effort of dismay and censorship. So let's see what this is here.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. It's emotional. It's really emotional because you spend your entire life thinking that all you want to do is dedicate your life to something greater than who you are. And if I get emotional or if I shed a tear, don't think for a second that I'm not ready to fight for you, okay? So we spend our family, especially, we spend our entire lives looking and seeking something more noble than who we are. And that's really why we're standing here today, because we are in a crucible moment in the history of the United States of America. And remember, the courts do not decide who the next president of the United States will be. Now, I will say that there are paths that are still in play. Trust me, I mean, there's a lot of activity that's still playing out.
Okay, loved it. And even though this is older, he took the time to post this. And so it ends by saying there's a lot of things that are still going on. There's still things that are playing out. So we should always keep that in account. His second post is interview with Maria Bartiromo. I'm sorry for screwing up the name. December 2020. I warned that what happened in 2020 was neither organic nor accidental, and it was not confined within our borders. I stated plainly that foreign actors had fingerprints on the systems used in our elections. Instead of investigating the warning, they attacked the messenger, shut down the conversation, and protected the narrative. All right, let's see what he says. Man, my mouse is so sensitive.
That we have conclusive evidence of foreign interference in our election. And it's available to the public right now at defendingtherepublic.org or kraken-wood.com.
As the Kraken.
And that, to me, as I think you spoke about earlier to either Jim Jordan or Ron Johnson, you have the DNI coming up on, I think, this Friday with a report on a whole range of issues. If he does the duty that I think he is very capable of doing, and the intelligence community provides a clear, unfiltered assessment, then they're going to discover that. And one of the things that I would recommend, if I were the DNI, or certainly if I were the National Security Advisor, is I think that the President of the United States has to trigger his executive order, I think, of 2018, and probably appoint a special counsel to look into all this. And what that does is that does slow everything down, and has to put on a fast track to be able to determine exactly what happened, because we have serious foreign influence problems with this Dominion voting machine.
All right, so I like the idea of a special counsel, and I did a thing where I was looking. I might visit that in a minute, but I was looking at ways. How can we, the people, have accountability? And there was multiple ways. There's like us doing a separate. I'll have to just find my thread because I'll screw it up. But there's a way through Trump, like the actual president, doing an executive order. There's a way through congressional something or another. Can't remember. And then there's separate where it's just basically like the people say we're going to do this. And so things can be done. But kind of back to like what I was saying in the beginning, we need to be active. We need to care. We need to give a damn. And we need to go lockstep with our president. He's leading the way in this area in Washington, in the White House. But the free press is dead as far as mainstream media, right? We can all agree. So we need to be the ones that are vocal about it and calling out these things. Start doing digs yourself. Look into Venezuela. What's going on? What's the history of Venezuela? Let's go back 50 years. When were we over there? Who was over there? Was it CIA? And just look into all of these things. And I will pull up a little dig I was doing last night. I was like researching and digging up, but I was on my phone. I was like Brad had already fallen asleep, and I'm like looking, and I'm like kind of making posts. I'm like, I don't want to post when I'm half groggy and I don't even know what I'm talking about. So I think I will be adding on to that thread, but we'll get to that in a minute. All right. So then he posts this that says, interview with real Alex Jones, January 2021. Foreign interference did not begin in 2020. Venezuela was a key hub for election rigging technology that has been exported globally for decades. And they knew it. Right. So I think it goes farther back than what we think. Well, we probably all know, but then what other people are realizing. So there's a lot of things we can look into, guys. There's a lot of things we can dig into. So let's see what he has to say.
We have had foreign interference from multiple countries. I'll rattle them off here if you want to get into that. And Donald Trump was the clear winner. For the next 4 days after the 3rd of November, from about the 4th through the 7th, 8th of November, they just started stuffing the ballot boxes, and everybody knows it, and they got caught. They got caught with their hands in the proverbial cookie jar, so that's where we are. So we have clear evidence of a foreign interference, which is all the president's executive order describes. That's the executive order from 2018. He reinstituted it in 2019. He reinstituted it again in 2020. And so we are essentially in a national emergency that the president has already declared. He just has to decide whether to execute some of those procedures that are well within his authority. So we have foreign interference from China. We have foreign interference from Serbia. We have foreign interference from Italy, from Spain, from Germany. And then on the 30th of October, 2020, so a couple of days before the 3rd of November election, and then on the 3rd of November, the FBI and CISA, which is that guy Krebs, right? Krebs, who came out and said, hey, there's no foreign interference at all about a week after the election. CISA is a Homeland Security cybersecurity agency. On the 30th of October, 2020, and on the 3rd of November, both in what's called a joint intelligence advisory, the FBI and CISA issued an advisory saying that Iran is mucking around in our election system. They were doing it on the 3rd of November, which is the day of the election. The FBI and the Department of Homeland Security both said there's foreign interference in our election on election day by the country of Iran. Equal branches, but the president is actually, he's not a branch. He is a person voted on by the majority of this country. And it's not by happenstance that the oath of office that the president of the United States takes, if you go back and you look at the founding fathers and the arguments that they had, actually, and for those that want to dig into it, it's Federalist Paper number 73. And you look at it as to why they chose those words. Because the president of the United States has a responsibility to protect the Constitution. Everybody else can scream about it. The courts can say, we're not going to do anything about it, like the Supreme Court did. But the president has the responsibility, the duty, and the authority to act. And it's above the others because there's something called national security. And national security, for all intents and purposes, is the responsibility of one person, and that's the United States president. Everybody is trying to tell him what to do. And the president has to stand there in his own boots, like Abraham Lincoln or George Washington or other presidents that we've had in our history who have had to make incredibly, incredibly difficult decisions. He is in one of those moments, I call it a crucible moment in the history of this country. Unprecedented. Donald Trump is standing in those shoes, and he's standing in those shoes by himself.
Okay. However, I do believe that we, the people, are with him. But as far as involvement with people, people in our government, they've been completely controlled. They've been completely corrupt. We're dealing with deep state. And I was writing down some of these things he was saying. Hold on. Because it was so good. Okay. So I like how he said that the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security was aware of Iran meddling in our elections on election day. So he's saying it's verified, it's on record, FBI and DHS, but yet it was the safest election ever known to mankind, or whatever mainstream media said, right? So what the heck? So there is evidence, there is sauce. It's just we gotta get it all together. We gotta care about it, right? Trump will be doing the concept of the military is the only way I understand these things as far as in the executive branch and all of this stuff. But the people have to be on board or this is not going to be effective. It will not succeed. We, the people, need to be awake, aware, have our own opinions, not based on a man, but based on our own opinions. What is life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness? Who were our founding fathers? Why did they come over to America to start a different life? What kind of oppression were they in over in England? Why are we here? What are we fighting for? We need to figure these things out if you don't know. And that's what will make you a patriot. You're gonna start to come to conclusions on your own, taking in information. You're gonna be proud of it. See, when you just take what mainstream media gives you, you just take it And then when you're at a friend's house, then you repeat it like a little mockingbird because, hey, you know, lady on Fox News said it, right? But when you take in things and you make your own conclusion about it, you're proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, even let's say right or wrong doesn't technically matter in this instance. It's just like the fact is you took the time to debate concepts in your head and make conclusions about it. That's what we need to be doing. And I think, man, I'm telling you, I think the public school and all the kids in the public schools have not been taught this. I was homeschooled my whole life. And my mom, she always said, you need to think critically, think critically, think critically. Don't take my word for it, figure it out, you know. And amen to that. And it's funny, later on in the future, you know, in the Q post, it talks about that. You know, you thinking for yourself is their greatest fear. There's a reason they say that in there. Remember, like I said before, we're in a battle, right? We are in a real battle, but it's a psychological battlefield, right? Cyber. Understand that. When you go online, put your armor on. You're going into battle, right? So think about this differently. You have way more power than you think. I always think about the power of we the people, right? And always those two things come to my mind. One was this quote from this movie, like way long ago. I can't even remember, but it's probably been in other things. And it just says that one drop of water, one little drop, you know, put into the ocean, raises the whole sea. Okay. It might be the tiniest, you know, the tiniest, smaller than atomic, whatever, or whatever it is, right? But it is measurable because it was one added thing. Now think about this. Think about scales. Think about the future of mankind on scales. And we are like this right now. And people are coming in on either side or whatever. And let's say it's really close. One person could quite literally change the fate of humanity. But with all of us together, does that make sense? Tip the scale. We could, one grain of rice could tip the scale. That's the phrase I'm thinking of. So don't ever think that you are not important. You are so important. Like sometimes you just got to change your perception. So think about when your mother, you know, became pregnant with you. The chances of the sperm from your father, the specific one that made it out of the trillions of different ones, right? You were that one, you know, with your mother, right? But that's already rare. That's already just crazy that you made it through that, right? Or however that works with conception. I know some people, you know, maybe when they come together, that's when the soul comes. I do not know. But just for the idea of what I'm saying, I think you guys can understand. So you're already rare. Every person on this planet is so special. Especially you start going out, you look into space, and you're like, oh, there's a lot of space, first of all, it seems. Then there's other planets, other solar systems, other stars. And I do think there's probably more than likely other life out there. But based on what we can see, we are rare and we're special. And in the Bible, it says we're created in the image of God. Whoa. Right? Like, so all this to say, I could go on forever, guys. We're going to get back to the news. But we need to change our perception in the battlefield. You are a soldier. You are in fact, beyond that, being a Christian, you are an ambassador. You are an ambassador soldier, right? You're representing the kingdom of God and you have God behind you, right? It's like, it's really cool once you have that perception. And when you change your perception in this reality, in this world, I'm in Alaska. I don't know where you guys are. Actually, you could say where you're from if you don't mind. Things happen. If you tell your mind you can't, then you can't. If you tell your mind you can, then you can. Right? It's probably the most important thing I'll tell you today. All right. enough of me rambling. But yeah, you guys, that would be great if you said where you were from. Okay. Now, to finally finish, I can't even finish these people. I love it. Okay. To finish this is the most important part. He goes, number 4, Mr. POTUS. Now is the time to ask former Venezuelan President Maduro, who in the United States worked with him to overthrow the 2020 election. Boom. Okay. And, Flynn always tags Trump quite often. And I mean, not to like spill the beans or anything. I think people can understand that this is for the public to understand what's happening, right? There needs to be exposure of the truth as opposed to what the mainstream media puts out. So it's just kind of like, think about it. This is interesting. This is an interesting statement that Flynn's saying here. Who in the United States worked with him? People in the United States worked with him? Oh, that's interesting. So, I thought that was, if this is the one I watched, this is really good. Sorry. I'm like all getting lost. But yes, so that is an amazing post, and it's going to lead me over here. Share this one. So this is the one I was like looking into last night. I was like falling asleep, but there's so much more to be found here, guys. So I was like, okay. And I actually was spurred on by Flynn's post. But I also knew that the CIA probably was doing stuff over there like they do. I don't know much about Venezuela. I know a lot more about Cuba. Man, the CIA was... But this is what I found. I found that Gregory Meeks, he's in Congress, Democrat, New York, had a personal meeting with Maduro. And I looked for that photo, and they say it does exist, but you can't find it online. It's just a reference. No, I couldn't find it. He had a meeting with Maduro, long-term sympathy for the regime, so his long-term sympathy, attended Chavez's funeral, and opposed anti-Maduro bills. He's had years of advocacy, money involvement, and alleged indirect ties via staffer's Cuba residency. I have not looked into this. I just found it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put this here before I even forget. So I did find, this is a photo when they were there. He's not with Maduro, but, and I think this was put out by the AP News. It says, in this October 23rd, 2003 file photo, U.S. Congressman Gregory W. Meeks left Cass Bellinger Center and William D. Dullahunt smile after giving a news conference in the home of U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela in Caracas, Venezuela. Meeks, the new chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee under the Joe Biden administration in 2021, is likely to be a key interlocutor, I don't know how to say that, for incoming administration's efforts to de-escalate tensions with Venezuela. Maduro doesn't trust his own shadow, but he might trust Gregory Meeks, said Dillahunt. Now, why would that be? This little something interesting there. And then when I dug a little deeper, I found out that Meeks was involved in a group, which I can't find the logo. See, I like to do posts and just show the logo. So, because I need to visually see, because I'll remember they don't have a logo. So this is what I found. The Grupo de Boston, which is translated Boston Group, was a bipartisan inter-parliamentary dialogue forum between U.S. Congress members and Venezuelan National Assembly deputies, active primarily from 2002 to 2005. So, like I said, guys, I just found this. I haven't even dug into it. So I bet you there's so many connections. The group included Nicolas Maduro, then a Venezuelan congressman, and dissolved after opposition boycotts in 2005. The congressmen involved included William Dullahunt Democrat, hi guys, I'm so bad with abbreviations of the state. Key coordinator on the U.S. side, we have Cass Ballinger, who was a co-coordinator. We have Gregory Meeks, who I just showed before. He was an active participant, attended meetings, and later referenced the group in relations with Venezuela. James Moran and Loretta Sanchez. So those are some names that you might want to look into. And I think I'll probably end up looking into them. Like I said, I was literally falling asleep when I was posting this. So I think this is what I found with the group. Let's see, share this tab. Okay. I did find that they run through this like organization, the OAS. But it just says U.S. Venezuelan Boston Group discusses Congress and the media. Congressional representatives from the United States and Venezuela. Oh, by the way, this is July 1st, 2003. So this is older. Congressional representatives of the United States and Venezuela here for the second annual meeting of the Parliamentary Boston Group today discussed the relationship between Congress and the media. Like, why are you, what's that about? Carlos Chamorro, a well-known Nicaraguan journalist, talked about the inevitable tensions between institutions that work at different and contradictory rhythms. The media timeline is different than the political timeline, he said, adding that immediacy demanded, I don't know how to say that, by the media can exert undue pressure on political process, which requires greater deliberation. First of all, you can't tell anybody what the media timeline looks like. It's supposed to be the free press. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I just kind of pull it up so you see that it's a real thing. Our congressmen were involved with being like directly with these guys. Let's see, where did I put that? The Boston Group. So it was bipartisan interparliamentary dialogue formed between U.S. Congress members and Venezuelan National Assembly deputies. And at the time, Maduro was present. So that's just something to nibble on. Little niblets, little cracker crumbs. Okay, now we're going to go over here. We're going to pull up Sidney Powell. I know you guys were talking about her. She is literally, I remember when she came on the stage, quite literally on stage. I was like, this woman's fire. She knows. She's a patriot, right? So I've always had really good respect for her. Liz Churchill says, I can hardly wait. Oh, this is what she says. So honestly, I'm not going to read that. We're just going to listen to what Sydney says here.
Can hardly wait to put forth all the evidence we have collected on Dominion, starting with the fact it was created to produce altered voting results in Venezuela for Hugo Chavez, and then shipped internationally to manipulate votes for purchase in other countries, including this one. It was funded by money from Venezuela and Cuba, and China has a role in it also. We have staggering statistical evidence. We have staggering testimony from witnesses, including one who was personally in briefings when all of this was discussed and planned, beginning with Hugo Chavez and how it was designed there, and then saw it happening in this country. As soon as the state shut down on election night and stopped counting, those are the states where the most egregious problems occurred. We also need to look at, and we're beginning to collect evidence on the financial interests of some of the governors and secretaries of state who actually bought into the Dominion systems to line their own pockets by getting a voting machine in that would either make sure their election was successful or they got money for their family from it. Well, for fraud this serious, I think even if the states are stupid enough to go ahead and certify the votes where we know the machines were operating and producing altered election results, then they will be set aside by the fraud also. I mean, we are talking about hundreds of thousands of votes. President Trump won this election in a landslide. It's going to be irrefutable. Patriots are coming forward faster than we can collect their information. with the testimony they're willing to give under oath about how their votes were stolen and how the machines operated. They were updated the night of the election, sometimes after the election. We've got statistical evidence that shows hundreds of thousands of votes being just put in and replicated. There needs to be a massive criminal investigation, and it's going to affect millions of voters and elections.
Okay, I like popped down here. I gotta rewind it. She says something that it's like, what did she say? I missed it. It was something about governors or something involved. It's like right around
Actually
here. Hold
bought
on.
into the Dominion system.
Okay, this is it.
State who actually bought into them, and we're beginning to collect evidence on the financial interests of some of the governors and secretaries of state.
Okay. Governors and Secretary of State. That bought into this. So she knew all this stuff early on. And like, you know, a lot of us here that have been here from the beginning, we knew it too. I remember making supercuts of Sidney Powell talking about this and posting it on my Rumble or on my YouTube. And then YouTube got taken down. I have gotten it back up, right? As you guys can see. So good to see you guys there, by the way. Got 4 people in there. But it's very shadow banned. Yeah, because you can see I've got 4,000 followers on my YouTube. I should at least get more than just 4 people at least jumping on, right? You know, just like seeing my broadcast. So I know even though YouTube gave it back, they gave it back like this blocker every single way. But that's why I love freaking Rumble with all my heart. In fact, before I continue, this would be a great break to talk about Rumble Premium. I don't know if you guys can see here. Wait. I was accepted into the creator program, which is really exciting. It means that basically us creators, as we work together, as we try to expand Rumble, so like, you know, reading ads can give me a little bit of money on the side. That is so nice. Obviously, it's just like a few bucks here and there. You know, I'm not a giant channel, but I just love the fact that they have that for we the people. You can actually come on here. You can make an account. You can have a voice, right? I could have a voice on YouTube. So like I quite literally, truly love Rumble for this. So I will pop this up real quick. Where is my... Okay, let's pull this up over here. So you probably noticed Rumble is growing fast, like I said, and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech, like I was just saying. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free, that's really nice, viewing across the platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scene drops, and more from your favorite creators. I think I might do a few broadcasts for Premium and just see who would jump in, because I know some people have Premium. And if you don't, right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. So that's nice. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal, which I absolutely love. And thank you so much, Rumble, for supporting this stream. Ta-da! Okay, so now we are going to go back. Let's pull up Sydney. Dude, I would love to have an interview with Sydney. I don't know, Sydney, if you ever see this, just know I would love to have you on. Okay, here we go. Sidney Powell, she puts this up. She goes, awesome. The American people love you. Yes, I do. And there was another photo that showed Trump with a bunch of the other guys, and, you know, their faces were blacked out. If I can find that one, I'll also post that. But this is by military support. It says the 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta is the unit responsible for capturing Nicolas Maduro. The K9's face is also hidden. I love it, though. So way to go. Way to go, guys. Let's do it. Let's clean up not only our country and protect it from foreign threats and drugs and all that, but the world. So, you know, it seems to me that Venezuela was also a hub for these types of things. Okay, this is going to get fun. We're going to have some fun in this show now because I love video content, doesn't everybody? So this is a clip. It says Jack Ryan clip. I haven't watched the Jack Ryan series, but I've heard they're really good. So it says Jack Ryan clip about Venezuela gets viral amidst capture of Nicolas Maduro. So let's see what this is. And I didn't even watch it, but I saw, like, I just saw what it was doing, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is probably accurate. So I will see you guys on the other side.
What would you assume is the most major threat on the world stage? Anybody, just call it out. You don't have to raise your hand.
Definitely Russia.
Definitely Russia. That's confident. I like it. Who says Russia? Anybody agree with her? Hands? Okay, great. Who else?
China.
Stop yelling at me, but China is a good answer. Anybody? Who else? China?
North Korea?
North Korea. Any North Korea takers? And Venezuela? Anybody? No? Oh, yeah. One guy in the back. A little worried about Venezuela. Everybody's cool with Venezuela? No threat? Okay. Let me ask you this. Which one of these places can claim to have the largest oil deposit on the planet? More than Saudi? More than Iran? Wow. Okay. What about things like gold? More than all the mines in Africa combined? The fact is that Venezuela is arguably the single greatest resource of oil and minerals on the planet. So, why is this country in the midst of one of the greatest humanitarian crises in modern history? Let's meet President Nicolas Reyes. After rising to power on a wave of nationalist pride, in a mere 6 years, this guy has crippled the national economy by half. He has raised the poverty rate by almost 400%. Luckily for the rest of us, he's up for re-election. So, who's running against him? This is Gloria Bonalde. Now, Gloria is a history professor turned activist. She's running against him on a social justice platform and on the strength of, in my humble opinion, just not being an asshole. Analyst predictions, as of today, have the chances of Venezuela's total economic collapse at 87%. On the news, they'll call it a crisis. But on the world stage, they'll call it a failed state. You've never heard that term. Other examples of a failed state in recent history are Yemen, Iraq, and Syria. And if that's not bad enough news for you, well, Venezuela is also the only one of these places within 30-minute range from the US of next-gen nuclear missiles. You will not hear about any of this on the news because the biggest players on the world stage do not want you to. To them, unstable governments are nothing more than the greatest of opportunities. So, Russia, China, can never be the most major threat until countries like Venezuela leave the door open to our very own backyard.
Is muted. All right, so that was really good. I kind of like missed the end part. I was my silly Sparky. He was like getting excited. But the idea is that these are areas that are easily controlled because they're always in this constant turmoil. And I don't know if he went as far as like talking about the CIA and things like that, but they like to quite literally come in, insert their player, whatever it is, there's deals, there's money laundering, it's whatever you think, right? Because if you have a place in constant chaos, a constant problem, you have a boogeyman, like what Brad, I remember when Brad really went to that concept, it was in his 9/11 documentary, and I was like, yes, of course. Of course. If you make the boogeyman over here, you're not going to look over here and here and here. And they're all funding the boogeyman, but in the public's eyes, they're fighting the boogeyman. Yeah, they're fighting it. Those wars, they just go on for 20 plus years. I don't know. It's just crazy. Right. And we know what Q said about that. Who's going to end the forever wars? Like, we want Trump to do this, right? But we also have to be involved in this. We have to be part of ending that. We have to have the public understanding, the public consent to accept that these things have to happen for us to have freedom and peace. So, sometimes people get upset at, like, for example, I want America to take care of America first, right? You get accused of, you're being nationalist, you blah, 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 you don't care about the world. Oh, I care about the world. We just can't care about the world if we're dying, right? I mean, if we're enslaved, what are you talking about? The whole world's enslaved, right? We're the ones, America, we still have things, okay? We still have our First Amendment. We still have our Second Amendment. Is very important. These are reasons why we're still here, right? We need to preserve and protect these things. These are the only things. And they loved, the deep state loves to play the paper games and gets all their people that they have bought on board, like all their people in Congress, to write certain laws and bills and things and whatever, and slowly over time to just destroy our rights. Just slowly, gradually, but surely they're destroying them. And if they do it slow enough, the people just kind of accept it. And especially if the people, get free food and then, right? So it's the trap. It's the trap. So anyways, I got sidetracked with that. But back to the whole thing with, Trump and his team going in there. The world is changing. Let's just put it that way. The world is changing, and it is a battle of good and evil. And if you have faith in God and you believe in what is good, what is true, what is right, you believe in morals, you believe in law, what we would say God's law, right? Things that are written on our heart. We don't even need laws to tell us, like murder. We just know it's wrong, right? If we all come together and we literally start changing our reality, like I was saying about like our mind, our perception, right? We can actually change things. We can actually do this. But we got to stop doing that. And we also have to understand, because I believe that there is very wonderful, God-fearing men and women in our military who are active right now and who are patriots and who are here to help us. But we need to understand what's happening. We need to take our thoughts into our own minds now and formulate, like I said, our own opinions on things and become involved in the world that's unfolding, because it's going to unfold whether you like it or not. So you need to be involved. You need to care about it. And once you understand the battle, good and evil, it comes clearer. At least for me, I can just tell, oh yeah, that guy's obviously a New World Order pawn, or, oh, that guy seems to really want to be on board with the Golden Age. We're seeing this separation, the wheat and the chaff, if you want to put it that way, on the planet scale, right? So we'll just see what happens. But I am very happy that I was born in America and I am American. And I do believe that if America falls, the whole world will fall. And I know there's a lot of people across the pond, everybody at the different countries, they also look to us. I have people message me, and they're like, oh, once Trump gets done over there, like, he needs to come over and help fix Australia or, the EU, like Britain's like, help us, so this hopefully will be not just an American thing, but a worldwide awakening and a revolution, not a bloody revolution, but a revolution of the mind and cutting us free from the global cabal. Now, with that being said, I've thought this would be great to play this. I made this video. Let's see what I posted. December 2027. I think I may have posted this a time before, but Spiritual Street Fighter, she had reposted it. So I thought that was really cool. And this was kind of like my way, it is in line with the Q post, but saying that the only way is the military, right? We need to have good men and women on board with what we the people want, because hey, the military is us, right? And we love our service members that know the truth, want to preserve and protect the Constitution, and want to serve the people. So this is in honor of them. The only way is the military. And we've seen that. We did see that with Venezuela. I'll see you guys on the other side.
Lights out, I'ma put you down, back out. Heavy when you fall and you hit the ground. One shot to get that crown. Won't stop, I'm coming for you all when you hear that sound. I'ma fight through the struggle. I'ma rise from the rubble. Rise from the rubble. Stronger every day I breathe. Hunger for the world to know my name. All eyes on me. Tension raining down on me. Pressure just becomes the only fuel I need. I'ma fight through the struggle. I'ma rise from the rubble.
Time to rise, guys. It is time to rise. Love that song. It's great. Every time I hear it, I'm like, yes. So you keep lifting, right? I love that about music. The right music, of course. I saw you guys over here in chat. Sorry, that sounded gay. Okay, Laura. See, Laura, and there's a bunch of people talking about it here. Unleashing Spirit Warriors says possible spiritual discernment. It is one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Oh, yeah, I agree. I think so. I think that once you're a Christian, like you can get like, sorry, my hair is so crazy, guys. Like vibes from people. You know what I mean? You can feel it. I've felt things. I felt heavy presences with people. Like, oh, I got to get out of here. And I think what it is that when somebody has a dark spirit in them, or it could be possession, or it could even be, I like to liken it to like just like a demon on their shoulder, just kind of every now and then because they've let that in, right? And so I think that people that have that, a connection of something, it could be anything. It could even be something like they're just so angry at their father, right? And they've had that their whole life. That's a stronghold for a demonic presence or a very heavy, whatever you want to call it, right? And so when you have the Holy Spirit in you and someone like that walks in the room, it's instantly agitated. And because we are frequency beings, we are energetic beings. I send out resonance out. Real resonance is vibration. You could even be recorded. And what I think, what I feel, what I say, what I am comes out. It's your vibrational resonance. I forget the actual name. If you guys know, read it in chat. But so right. So then, and then the person that's got the darkness with him or her or whatever, it's like, and then you feel that. That's the vibes. You're picking up on that. You're energetically connecting through, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of talk about these things. I know in the Christian realm, sometimes they'll go a little bit, but they don't want to go too far because they don't want to go into dark arts and things. Like I get that. I understand that because there is two sides of the coin, but prayer, meditation, dwelling upon God's word. So one of the fruit of the Spirit, whatever is pure, whatever is, I should just pull it up. Let's just pull it up. Fruits of the Spirit. Okay. Images. I want the full thing here. I want the full thing. Let's pull this up. Oh, you guys are here. Okay. I was like, am I on the right one? So many tabs open, right? Okay, so this is what it says. I don't know if you can see it. No, I think that's what we're going to have to do, just like that. It's from Galatians 5:22 through 23. It says, but the fruit of the Spirit, and I'm going to have to unpack this because there's a lot, but it says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things, there is no law. And there's another Bible verse that says, whatever is pure, dwell upon these things. So I'll see if I can find that one too. But it's the same thing, right? It is telling us what the fruit of the Spirit is. So these are the things that are going to come out of you. But I guess I have to find the other one because that is not... Just a second, guys. And they are of the same thing. They definitely are. Okay, here we go. Share this tab instead. So this is, okay, you guys seeing? Okay, yeah. This is Philippians 4:8. And it says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So there, I think this is, I'm not sure who wrote this. It might be Paul. I'll have to check. But the writer is telling us an action. They're like, you know, all of these things. What is they telling us to do? They want us to think about it. Well, that's kind of interesting. So this is what I said about prayer and meditation. This is a meditation right here. This is biblical meditation, 100%. Whatever you are thinking about is going to affect you daily. What do you have on your mind? Your mindset is everything. I know it sounds so repetitive, but it's just one of those things when it hit me, I'm like, oh man, this is how we do it, guys. This is how we do it. So that's the homework, guys. Whatever is true, right? We are digital soldiers. We are patriots. We are truth seekers. Whatever is true, man. And I'm going to add, I'll add into the Bible, but I am. This is the Abby extension. Okay, here we go. So not only think about these things, but let's post it on social media. Okay, think about this in a social media post. This would be a great homework for you. Go on like X, go on Facebook, whatever. Now, I don't want it to have like negative vibes in it, all these things, because that's what the deep state is, right? That's what they do. And they want to keep you down, like keep you depressed, whatever. We're going to change that culture. We're changing that culture. Screw those guys. Freaking stupid. We're done. All right. So find something on social media that is true. It's noble. Oh man, military and all these things, or a man saving a dog that's about to drown, and he, you know, like all these awesome things. Look for these cool things. Whatever is pure, you know, maybe something beautiful like a woman singing an opera and not freaking Lady Gaga stripping down, you know, like, right? Whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. Like that's the one I thought about military, you know, like, you know, something that is just, you would just admire, you honor, right? If anything is excellent, if anything is praiseworthy, something awesome, talk about it, post about it, find a cool video. I think that's actually a really cool way to bring the Bible out into the digital world. All right. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I realized I've been on here for an hour and a half. I did have a little bit more, but I'm going to see what I have left here, because I do have a few things I really want you to watch. Okay. This one right here came on my feed. I'd never seen this guy, but I went ahead and followed stopworldcontrol.com. So if you want to follow him, you can. Great message. I wrote, time to get on board. I think at first when I was writing, I was like, agree 100 trillion%, you know, whatever. But also why I like the way this guy puts all of this is he doesn't dance around the words. He's like, oh yeah, satanic cabal, you know. Like I was doing that the other day, and sometimes I realize when I'm talking to more normal people that they're like, I'm like, oh, I found, you know, Democrat. Sorry if there's any Democrats out there, you know what I mean? Like if you're seeking truth, you're totally welcome. Like you're fine. But there are quite a bit of, let's just say, not so good people on that party. Okay. So let's hear what this guy has to say. It was very enjoyable. It is 6 minutes, but I think you guys will really appreciate it.
What is happening in Venezuela is literally so different from anything you've been hearing. Back in 2005, a news reporter, Lou Dobbs, already reported how Venezuela was the central operational hub from where elections were being rigged around the world so that deep state could install their criminal agents in key strategic positions so that they could fulfill their agenda for one world government, for world domination. Listen to the clip here.
A firm owned by Venezuela could be allowed to take over one of this country's top voting machine firms. Venezuela, of course, led by Hugo Chavez, working to change the views of most South American countries, moved to the left. Critics of the deal say our nation's very democracy is now for sale without anyone doing a thing about it. Getty Pilgrim reports.
The use of some 19,000 electronic voting machines in the city of Chicago and Cook County primary on March 21st of this year is now under intense scrutiny. The U.S. company that makes the machines, Sequoia, was bought in 2005 by Smartmatic, a private company primarily owned by Venezuelan businessmen. When Chicago had problems with the machines, a dozen Venezuelan employees were there to help with the election. Chicago officials are outraged.
I think that American elections ought to be run by American companies and ought to be run by American citizens, not Venezuelan nationals.
Smartmatic is technically based in Boca Raton, Florida, but the president of the company, Jack Blaine, testified to the Chicago City Council. Fewer than a dozen Smartmatic employees work in Florida. The majority of the workers are based in Venezuela. Watchdog groups question why U.S. voting machines would be under the control of citizens of another country, especially a country whose own election process is highly suspect.
We believe this is a national security issue. There is no way that companies belonging to non-U.S. corporations should have access to our elections.
This was later confirmed by Sidney Powell in 2020 when the presidential election in America had been stolen to position Biden as an executor of the plans of the Satanists to destroy America and deliver America into the hands of the cabal. Listen to Sidney Powell.
I can hardly wait to put forth all the evidence we have collected on Dominion, starting with the fact it was created to produce altered voting results in Venezuela for Hugo Chavez, and then shipped internationally to manipulate votes for purchase in other countries, including this one. It was funded by money from Venezuela and Cuba, and China has a role in it also. We have staggering statistical evidence. We have staggering testimony from witnesses, including one who was personally in briefings when all of this was discussed and planned, beginning with Hugo Chavez and how it was designed there, and then saw it happening in this country. So, I mean, we are talking about hundreds of thousands of votes. President Trump won this election in a landslide.
President Trump himself has posted a video of a military intelligence whistleblower who confirms this. Listen to him.
From the official Dominion PDF ballot. In other words, the printing process, appearance, is completely different than what you would get from a first-generation PDF printing.
These 25,000 unidentifiable ballots alone represent over double the amount of Joe Biden's 10,457 vote mark.
If our election wasn't rigged, it was a rigged election now, everyone knows. It's going to come out over the next couple of months too, loud and clear, because we have all the information here.
So what is happening is that President Trump, as the spearhead of a White Hat operation worldwide, White Hat operation means high-level military intelligence strategic network worldwide of good people who have not bowed their knee to Satan, but who are serving Christ in an operation to save humanity from the plans of evil. They are now literally ending one of the key centers of the cabal in the world, just like they did with Ukraine. Ukraine was a center for human trafficking, for underground breeding of children, for sexual pleasure of the elites, and for human sacrifice. It was a central intelligence headquarter of the Satanists worldwide. That's why George Soros said that if they lose Ukraine, it will be the end of their civilization. That's why the Rothschilds said it'll be the end of the world if Ukraine is captured. That is why they've been funding the war in Ukraine so massively, because they are desperate to lose it. They need to recapture what's in Ukraine. Venezuela, I believe, is similar to that. It has been orchestrated as one of the hubs for drug trafficking, but for election interference and for many other evils around the world. Trump and the White Hats are busy strategically taking out all these headquarters, all these centers. In so many videos I've told you guys, we are experiencing the deliverance of humanity from a rule of evil. This is going to become so beautiful, so epic. Do not listen to the liars, the naysayers, the doomsday preachers, those who always cast a shadow over everything, those who insist on convincing you that evil is all there is. Those people are blind and they are evil in their heart. They're being inspired by darkness. Listen to the people who tell you the real facts. Trump is part of an operation to save humanity. Follow me here if you want to hear more.
Yeah, so I thought that was really freaking good. Like I said, I'd never seen this guy. I don't really know the story, so hopefully it doesn't be weird or. But truth is truth, right? And I loved what he was saying. And I love how he just made no buts about it, man. He just was like, yeah, global cabal, this and that. I mean, when you do your research, guys, it really is as deep and as dark as you think. They put it in your faces in the movies. Right? It happens. And I don't even want to make this stream tarnished, but the evil deeds of mankind have no bounds on this planet, and a lot of these things will be revealed. Some of these things, might not even truly be revealed for people just because it would be too traumatizing for the public. But there will be at least a general reveal. And, people need to understand that. That's how we understand and make it never happen again and give a darn, is because you have to understand what has happened. And we've been lied to for so long. And it's just, so, now with the digital age, weeding through things, right? A little difficult, but make sure to have Jesus as your guiding light. So seek truth and things like that. And you should be on the right track, right? That's the way it goes. And, resist the devil. So things that are dark, things, just you get that instant feeling like, oh, I shouldn't do, maybe I shouldn't. Well, that's wrong. Don't do it. And you're going to have a better life, if you decide not to do those things. Okay. I saw Black Hat Destroyer in here. Good to see you. And I love the conversation in here about just spirituality and stuff like that. This is really, really good. Oh, Jackie, thank you for rating the stream. Rock and roll. That's super awesome. And Bay, oh, thank you. You guys are so sweet. Thank you so much for rating the stream. That's wonderful. I will make sure to rate along, right? As I continue. You guys are so awesome. Oh, I love you too. I should just pull you up in here. Although you probably just got done doing a stream and you're like, want to take it. I got to have you on here though. For real. It'll be really fun. Okay. So everybody, love you all. Remember to give me thumbs up. We're going to go over to the White House now. The White House YouTube. Not the actual White House, but maybe one day. Wouldn't that be fun? I would love to go to the White House. I would really like that. I would just go crazy over it, in all honesty. And also going to specific areas. I'm somebody that's like the specific area. I don't know. So if a battle was done here, or if the wagons went through this area, I could actually just sit and touch the ground or be there where they were. It's almost like a little portal in time, if you know what I mean. Just experience that moment, that area. Love it. So I love doing that when I go, if I went to the White House, I would just be like, wow, this is the White House. Bro, this is so cool. And it's definitely worth preserving and protecting. Okay, so the White House, like I said, their YouTube, definitely give it a follow. It's just the best. You're going to always be inspired. You're going to be informed. And you're just going to start loving America. You're going to actually understand your heritage. And as far as psychological operations go, I'll let you in on a little something. My take is that they're doing this as part of reversing the damage that has been done for the past, I don't know, Yuri Bezmenov talks about it. It's just the slow degradation of mankind and their view on everything. We've gone so far, that they don't want us even liking our heritage, and how dare we, and let's take down all those statues, and Are you serious? Right? So part of the fighting back on that battlefield, right, is doing true education. So they've been putting out a lot of great stuff. And I think this is a really great video to watch at this moment in time. This is called Story of the American Soldier.
In order to form a more perfect union. House divided unworthy and emotionally physical. Each other, our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor.
Just over 231,000 men served in the Continental Army during the American Revolution, and only 48,000 ever served at the same time. How many can you name? George Washington probably comes to mind. Maybe Hamilton, Lafayette. If you're a real history buff, you might remember Nathaniel Greene or John Stark. How about all the others? Who remembers the ordinary soldiers who won our independence? I'm Michael Knowles, and I remember one of those soldiers. Not because he led a famous regiment or went on to hold any high office. There's no monument to his service other than a small headstone in a far-flung cemetery with a simple four-word epitaph: Soldier of the Revolution. And I remember that soldier because he's my great-great-great-great-grandpa, Simon Knowles. Like most Continental soldiers, Simon's name appears in the appendix of a history book. If not for a single Army pension application, written almost 50 years after the fact, no one would know a thing about his service. But Providence and Congress so arranged things that we do know about his service, and the service of tens of thousands of his fellow rank-and-file soldiers. Simon signed up to fight at the tender age of 15, and he served throughout the entire war. From the Battle of Bunker Hill in 1775, across the Delaware with Washington to the battles of Trenton, Princeton, and Saratoga. Through the bitter winter at Valley Forge, all the way through final victory at Yorktown, and then to an honorable discharge once again with Washington at Newburgh in 1783. After the war, Simon, like most of his fellow veterans, became a farmer. He didn't own much. His estate comprised a heifer, a sword from his father, and a walking cane. Personal effects, all of the value of $1. This relative poverty, common among the men who won the revolution, was a hardship for him, but a blessing to us, because it prompted these patriots to detail their service in official government documents in exchange for a modest stipend in their old age. But money was never a top priority for these men. The teenagers and 20-somethings who enlisted and re-enlisted in the Continental Army might have done so with the promise of pay, but that pay rarely came on time. Even when it did, it was worth less than the paper it was printed on. A wagon load of Continental dollars would hardly buy a wagon load of provisions. The men were paid as though they were volunteers, but they were expected to fight like a professional army. General Stark trained his men in the finer points of warfare, including the bayonet, which astonished the Hessians in the surprise attack at Trenton. Hessian survivors recounted that the American troops charged with a ferocity and discipline more characteristic of elite European forces than of a ragtag New World militia. These ordinary soldiers' skill in battle was all the more impressive, given the fact that they were usually starving. At Valley Forge, during the winter of 1777 to 1778, meat and bread all but disappeared. The men lived on fire cakes, flour and water paste, for days on end. The most common refrain from the feeble huts that lined the camp was, "No meat." Joseph Plum Martin was 17 years old when he encamped at Valley Forge. Oftentimes, he wrote, have I gone 1, 2, 3, even 4 days without a morsel, unless the fields or forests might chance to afford enough to prevent absolute starvation. Often, when I have picked the last grain from the bones of my scanty morsel, have I eat the very bones, as much of them as possibly could be eaten, and then have had to perform some hard and fatiguing duty. 1 in 6 soldiers died that winter. Those who survived the bullets and bayonets of the British, as well as the constant malnutrition, disease, dysentery, typhus, smallpox, and exposure. General Washington reported that by late December of that year, not less than 2,898 men were unfit for duty by reason of their being barefoot and otherwise naked. Many couldn't walk on their frostbitten feet. And Valley Forge wasn't even the coldest winter. 2 years later, during the winter of 1779 to 1780, 1 sentry froze to death at his post in Morristown, New Jersey. When the Continental soldiers weren't freezing, they were dropping from heat stroke. At the Battle of Monmouth in June of 1778, countless soldiers collapsed, and dozens died from heat exhaustion. One sergeant recalled that the sun-baked soldiers drank from mud puddles as they ducked British cannonballs. But the endless suffering was only one part of the story, and the minor part at that. The crucial fact of that battle, of the whole revolution really, was that the Americans stood their ground. Before the British slunk away, the Patriots had proved that they could face the finest army on earth in open battle, despite an incomparable disadvantage in training and supplies. Unfortunately, the morale boost did not improve material conditions on the ground. When soldiers ran out of food in Maine during Colonel Arnold's expedition to Quebec, they boiled leather for soup. After 7 days, with no kind of nourishment but roots and black birch bark, Private William Beggs recalled, his party of soldiers ate a stray horse, and they were lucky to have found it. On the Sullivan Campaign in 1779, soldiers had to settle for horse feed, as overstretched supply lines reduced them to half rations without flour. And still, they managed to rout Tory Rangers and their Iroquois allies at the Battle of Newtown, a major military victory, albeit one that cost them their clothes. One private, Nathan Davis, recalled that his uniform had been cut to rags by marching through woods and thickets. Many men walked bare-chested. The lucky ones wore Indian leggings. Some wore little more than loincloths, but they had broken the Indian strength and advanced the army's campaign. Occasionally, troops mutinied. Who could blame them? But most did not. In Simon's New Hampshire line, no major mutiny ever broke out. These men had not signed up for good food, warm clothes, or pity parties, but they enlisted with a purpose: to defend their country. And the defense of one's country entails sacrifice. Modern people sometimes struggle to believe that others are not as cynical as they themselves. They believe that all human action must derive from selfish, material interest. The ordinary soldiers who signed up to fight for American independence confound these cynics, because they didn't stand to gain much of anything, at least materially, for their troubles. What motivated them was more valuable: honor, virtue, ideals. Ensign Samuel Cooper wrote to his wife in July 1775, "The dangers we are to encounter I know not, but it shall never be said to my children, your father was a coward." These soldiers took leave of their families, some of whom disagreed even with the cause of independence. They endured and overcame their hardships for, in the words of Massachusetts soldier James Davenport, liberty, peace, and independence forever. If the soldiers had one fear, it was the indifference of their countrymen, that their sacrifices would be in vain, and their cause soon forgotten. At Valley Forge, Dr. Albigence Waldo described the dread in his diary. "There comes a soldier. He comes and cries, I fail fast, I shall soon be no more, and all the reward I shall get will be, poor Will is dead. In 1780, the Continental Congress voted to give a reward, at least to officers who had served in the Revolution. Half pay for life, a courtesy later amended to full pay for 5 years. The ordinary soldier, on the other hand, returned home with next to nothing, worthless promissory notes and a pat on the back. It took an additional 38 years, and for most soldiers more than half a century, for Congress finally to offer a reward to the destitute veterans who had not already died. Even in their old age and penury, these veterans once again gave their country a greater gift than anything they received in return. They told us who they were and what they did, and not one of their names was ordinary. No man is ordinary. Each man suffers and delights, fails and triumphs in his own way. Or, in the words of the poet of the Revolution, Philip Freneau, far, far from domes where splendid tapers glare, 'tis his from dear-bought peace no wealth to win, removed alike from courtly cringing squires, the great man's levy and the proud man's grin. Sold are those arms which once on Britons blazed, when, flushed with conquest, to the charge they came. That power repelled, and freedom's fabric raised, she leaves her soldier, famine, and a name.
Kind of sad, but so raw and so true. The White House is grateful for partnership with Hillsdale College and the U.S. Department of Education in production of this video series. So definitely check it out, guys. They have such good stuff. And I think so the thing to take away from that, even though I know it kind of ended on like so sad, because they didn't get recognition, man. And by the time they did, half of them had passed on. But it shows you that means they didn't do it for recognition. Like that guy that they mentioned before, what was his name? Simon. He was there from the very beginning to the very end. I mean, if there isn't a patriot, that is like the patriot right there. So kind of to circle back, so I can wrap up this whole stream here. We are in a war. We really are. The battlefield is a little different, well, not a little bit, quite a bit, but it is a psychological battlefield, and it is one for sure, because once they get the minds of the people to believe certain things or accept certain things, you can acquire a whole country, right? So we need to think for ourselves. I would add in, it would be really good to maybe open up your Bible every now and then. Maybe read a scripture or something, because there's some very important, there's something very important about the Bible, about God's word. And when you read it, it will just kind of like, I don't want to say illuminate you. I don't want to sound like, who, but it is an understanding. It is becoming, you start to kind of expand your thinking and you go, oh my gosh, it really is a battle of good and evil. There really is an evil group out there. God's word tells you about it. And that's the whole reason Jesus came, is to give us away. But while we're here, like it said in Ephesians, we should have nothing to do with the deeds of evil, but we are here to expose it. So I want you guys to think about that. And also, again, to end it more on a little positive note, let's share this instead. You guys are so wonderful, by the way. Let's do this. And I know the world is chaotic, but again, we're all energetic beings, and what we think, what we feel, and what we put out on the internet, all these things affect everything. Remember, the grain of rice tips the scale. One drop of water raises the sea. What you do changes things. And if we could really see the connections, it's like string theory, trillions and billions, but it is a system that can be influenced. And if you are a believer, you have a very, you are actually charged by God to spread the truth and to speak the truth and to help your brothers and sisters find the light. So, homework, remember, go online, find something good, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things or post about such things, right? Keep that out there because we are here to change the culture, change the narrative as the darkness is getting exposed, right? And it is a slow process, I know, but we need to go lockstep. In fact, I dare to say we need to also be leading it. So we need to be bold citizens. We need to speak out. We need to say, hey, we need accountability. We need this. We need that. And we don't got to be mean about it, but we definitely should be firm about it and know what we believe. That's the other thing. Just what do you believe? What's important? What is America to you? If you don't know, research it. I hope that these videos helped you guys kind of start feeling that patriotism and the honor and the sacrifice that our ancestors did, and the only reason we're here. So very, very special, very, very important. And guys, thank you so much in chat, everybody over on YouTube. Give me thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't to me. Also share the stream. And everybody on Rumble is a good group of you. And thank you so much for chatting. It says there's 52 of you. Wow. Well, hello. And everybody over on X, thank you so much for hanging out and joining. I'm going to put my outro. It's a little longer, but I'm going to be finding somebody to raid. I'm going to have to find my husband to show me how to raid somebody. But I love the raiding thing. It's great because it continues it on. And thank you so much, Jackie and Bay Theater Dave, for raiding me. And and to happen says, and one drop of water sends out ripples. Yes, it does. See, now you're thinking. You're thinking. This is what we need. We needed people to start thinking and, just speaking truth. And it, like, even the thing, whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, it could be just a beautiful picture of a flower. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like crazy. It's just like, we need to start flooding the culture with good and good things. It's actually good for mankind, by the way, because if we get rid of all this just terrible sin, adultery, pornographic child abuse crap, if we get rid of the deep state globalist cabal situation, we're going to be able to expand faster than we ever could have imagined. We've lost hundreds of years. Like, the cabal has taken hundreds of years of advancement from us. I believe it, man. They've just kept us, you know what I mean? In the dark ages, even though it doesn't feel like dark ages, you know what I mean? I do believe we'd be a lot farther along. So, yep. And I love what you said. Is it Anita Happens? I hope I'm saying your name right. Can you imagine if we all lead in lockstep, the rest asking each other, hey, where are they going? Let's follow, right? Right, exactly. Because there is the herd mentality out there. It is out there. But, we're kind of like the way, we're like the shepherds, right? So there's ways. Like, that's the art of red pilling, and getting people and say, oh, well, what? Come on over this way. Okay. Yep. Oh, okay, this way. Right. And it is a gradual, it's like an art, really. It's fun though. But you can also be attacked. And yeah, we've been down those routes too. Abby, do you want to read the narrative? Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Abby, for your good energy. Have a blessed evening. Thank you so much. And yes, that would be wonderful. I will exit out here. And guys, thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you later. And I will raid. Just give me a minute. I got to figure it out. Okay. Love you guys. Peace.